are we still very reliant? As I was driving back from Bournemouth, my mate said to me, it's still the old ones, it's still Silva, it's still Aguero that won that game for us. And if that's true, so I put that to you, is that true? And if it is true, is that a concern? Because David Silva's going at the end of the season, and Sergio Aguero, as much as it pains me to say it, isn't going to be much behind him, is he?
No, I think the positives on that, I think Jesus, before his injury, I think he started off the season really well. He's had a brilliant pre-season. Well, when David goes, Bernardo, I should imagine, will slot right in there. So I think we'll just be looking at a different replacement. Because I do think we'll lose Sané, but we've got players what are absolutely interchangeable now. And I think that's part of our success as well, because as an opposition manager, how can you say, right, David Silva's going to be playing on the left wing or the right wing, or Bernardo's going to be... You can't... If we don't know what we're doing, our opposition managers and players supposed to know.
In response to that, Ian, I think you've got to look at where it all starts from. And we play out from the back now, and it starts with Ederson. It might go to Laporte, and it works, and it's synergistic. That's the word I want to use. The whole team works.
Have you just made that word up?
No, it's an actual word, Ian. Have a look. No, but in all honesty, I mean, how does Silva get the ball to provide the striker with an opportunity? How does Aguero get the opportunity on the edge of the box? It doesn't come out of thin air, do you know what I mean? So I understand why people might think that they scored the goals or they assisted the goals, but it has to come from somewhere else first to be, to be presented with that, shall I say? And on Sergio, I don't know if everybody agrees, but I actually really, really, really enjoyed watching him play yesterday.
It wasn't just his goal scoring; it was his interplay, wasn't it?
He looked like he was enjoying himself again, Ian. And I don't know if people agree, but for the majority of the back end of last season, maybe, and maybe this first half of the Spurs game, he didn't really look like he was enjoying it. He looks like he was more there just doing what we know he should be doing. And against Bournemouth, he looked like he really started to enjoy the ball. When he was on the ball, he was positive, he was driving, he was in the right areas at the right times, and I really, really, really enjoyed watching Serge, and I think this is going to be a really good season for him.
Are we too reliant on Sergio and David Silva?
No, I don't think so, because obviously, like it was hinted on there, it's a team effort, isn't it? So on another day, it'll be, Bernardo assisting, and when he gets his time, Foden playing as well. So, you've got to look across the park and where it builds up from and where the assists come from. But yeah, they are extraordinary players, and I think we are so blessed and so lucky to have had both of those at the prime of their career playing for Manchester City Football Club, because it doesn't get much better in midfield and up front. I actually fear for the day that Aguero says he's going, because there is nobody out there in world football that can replace him. His consistency, his ability, and his individual talent and his skills. There's nobody available out there right now. And I don't even want to know the price that you'd have to pay. But the worry is sourcing somebody to replace him. Because Jesus, yeah, he's had a fantastic start to the season. Bit gutted that he's got injured. But it's who you replace Serge with. But I don't really want to think about that right now.
Haven't we got a ready-made replacement in Sterling down the middle?
Well, potentially, yeah. But I like to see him kind of a bit more forward in midfield, but I do think you need that striker. I do think you need the out-and-out striker up front. Although he's become a much more rounded footballer, I do think you need the striker. I
think personally this season, Ian, we could be seeing Sterling at the 2025s.
Yeah.
In just the Premier League. In all competitions, he could be hitting 30, 35 a season now. And it's fantastic to know that Raheem, Arsenal tried it with Walcott and it did work, and then he obviously got reverted back out onto that right hand side, but Sterling looks like he's taken to that more central striker role, shall I say, and when he's put there, he's frightening. A ball in behind and Sterling's gone. There's not many centre halves. In fact, I don't think there is a centre half catching him once he's through, and I do agree with them. We're probably going to have to bring somebody in that's a world-class ready-made striker, but finding that player, people use the terminology fill someone's boots. The players that we've had over the last 10 years, I've not seen a player fill someone else's boots, because you can't fill someone else's boots. You'll never replace them. You'll just merely slot in and be the next player in that squad.
I think for me, in terms of both of them, if we were to go back 3 years ago, then I would have said yes, because I think at that point, pre-Pep, what the squad was, we would have just missed Silva and Aguero too much. If it was to happen overnight tomorrow, let's say, I don't think we would miss Silva as good as he is, because we've got other players in the midfield with that individual brilliance, and that's what we've relied on over the years. Was when we couldn't get through teams, when they were sitting 11 men behind the ball, it was that bit of brilliance to put the ball behind him, dink it over, and Silva was great at that. My worry is Aguero, because Jesus is good, but he does seem to suffer occasionally from lack of confidence. Beginning part of last year, I think he was struggling in the early parts of the Champions League, whereas Sergio, without fail, every time, if you need somebody to perform, he's there. But like Emily said, how many strikers out there in the world that can do that? I mean, I probably could name about 3 or 4. Don't test me, but yeah, 3 or 4 on hand.
So is Jesus going to replace God?
Probably not.
No, seriously, the amount of strikers, it depends what... There's plenty of strikers all over the world, but it's Pep won't just bring them in because they're a name. He'll bring them in because of the work ethic, first and foremost, and if they fit in with whatever system we're playing. It's pointless going paying hundreds of £1 million for somebody because they're a household name. He might have somebody on the radar already. He'll be thinking about that, Aguero's departure now. It won't be, oh, boss, I'm going to be leaving next season. They'll have a chat. They'll know when it's happened.
And I think that's, for me, is one of the confidence I now have in the squad, is how well run it is behind the scenes in terms of players and transfers, because I've also got confidence after, again, I was at the EDS game on the Friday and watching some of the kids play there, and some of them could quite easily step up in some of the cup games now, and they do look to be blooded in the Pep way. So I think I've got more confidence in our overall squad, especially when we looked at the bench. I mean, we spoke just before we started about the bench at Bournemouth, whereas, again, going back under 5 years ago or something, you looked at the bench and thinking, well, who are we going to bring on here? Who can change this game? How can we make it a bit more solid at the back? And there was no one. Whereas now, I do think we've got that depth in squad that teams do rightly favour us, and I think that we're going to be sticking around for at least, if you look at the average age of some of those players like Bernardo, under 25, and there's quite a few there under 25 we've got for at least
that's what Pep's done. He's dramatically brought down the average age of it, and I think was a little bit frustrated with not with Pep, but the first season when Pep come in. Let's not forget we had Zabaleta, as much as we love, and Kolarov. The age of these players was massive, and just to get rid of those two and bring some younger people in, I think it was absolutely top draw. It was worth waiting that season.